Ever think about what happens to someone who's always at the center of attention when that spotlight finally goes dark? What happens when the texts stop, the compliments vanish, the admirers get bored, and the constant drip of validation just stops? What's left when a narcissist is left with nothing but silence? People get this wrong all the time. Most imagine narcissists as these bottomless fountains of self-love and confidence. But if you scratch beneath the surface, or ask anyone who's really studied it, the story's way more complicated. Underneath all the arrogance and bravado, you'll often find someone whose sense of self is brittle, held together by the attention and reactions of other people. All that applause and admiration, it's fuel. The experts call it narcissistic supply. So when that supply cuts off, what then? Picture someone who spent their whole life on stage. The audience is always there, clapping or heckling, but always reminding them they exist, that they matter. Then one day everyone's gone. The lights are out. It's just them, hearing their own thoughts for the first time, and honestly, for a narcissist, that can feel awful. You know where a lot of them turn first? Social media. Makes sense. It's like a vending machine for attention. Instant likes, comments, notifications. Every ping a little hit of, hey, you matter. Some will scroll obsessively, hunting for anyone who's lonely or suggestible, anyone who might be an easy source of validation. Ever notice how some folks magically become whatever their current crowd wants? Sometimes, with narcissists, it's pure strategy. Around religious people, they're suddenly deep and spiritual. With career climbers, they turn into go-getters. Meet someone rebellious and they'll act like the ultimate rule breaker. It's not about being genuine. It's about whatever gets the biggest reaction. Psychologists talk about this as having a fragile self-concept. Instead of a stable sense of self, their personality warps to fit whatever gets them approval. They're chameleons, keep changing, but somehow never land on who they actually are. But it's not just about getting attention. When the compliments dry up, some narcissists shift their focus to other people's lives. Why? Because it's easier to obsess over someone else than face your own insecurities. Maybe they start digging, trying to learn everything about old friends, exes, anyone who's moved on, who's happier, who found love, who looks like they're thriving without them. The answers hit hard. Studies say narcissists are super sensitive to anything that feels like a threat to their ego or status. If they find out someone they used to control is doing just fine, it stings. It's less about someone else being happy. It's the fact that they're happy without the narcissist. Then there's denial. Why do so many narcissists flat out refuse to admit when they're wrong, even if the truth's obvious to everyone? It's self-protection. Owning up to a mistake means admitting they're not perfect. For most people, that's hard but doable. For narcissists, it's almost unbearable. They need that illusion of superiority. So they rewrite history, downplay what happened, blame someone else, or claim everyone misunderstood them. Sometimes this delusion runs so deep, they believe their own stories. It's not just lying to others, they're lying to themselves, all to protect their self-image. But sometimes, even these defenses crack. That's when loneliness turns into anger. Instead of turning inward or reflecting, some narcissists lash out. Old friends become enemies. Exes become targets. Family members, anyone close, suddenly gets blamed or smeared. Reputation becomes a battleground. If they can't control someone directly, well, maybe they can twist how everyone else sees that person. They collect allies, spread rumors, exaggerate faults, play the victim, anything to regain some power. It's wild, but the more energy they pour into tearing someone down, the harder it is for them to let go. It's like their whole sense of self is still wrapped up in that other person. Most people, left alone for a while, eventually start to reflect. Solitude can be a chance to learn, grow, figure yourself out. For narcissists, it feels dangerous. Silence isn't peaceful, it's threatening. Reflection brings discomfort. Self-awareness feels like staring into an abyss. When there's nobody around to distract them, all those buried feelings start bubbling up. Shame, fear, insecurity, all the stuff they've been running from. That's a big reason you'll see narcissists circling back to old relationships. Maybe you've gotten one of those random texts long after things ended, a "Hey, how are you?" out of the blue. Most of the time, they aren't reaching out for real intimacy. The old connection is just familiar ground, a place to see if the door's still open and the supply's still there. If it is, they might jump right back in. If not, they move on looking for the next hit. But sometimes when they find themselves truly alone, things get darker. Some dive into distractions, scrolling endlessly, shopping, risky behaviors, even substance abuse. Anything's better than facing whatever's lurking inside. Why is being alone so terrifying for them? Simple, solitude takes away the mirrors. No audience, no applause, no one left to blame or impress. Just themselves, and for someone whose identity relies on other people's reactions, that's unnerving. Here's the big misconception. Everyone says narcissists love themselves too much. Usually it's just the opposite. That arrogance and self-importance, it's a shield, not proof of real self-esteem. It's what they use to protect the weak, scared part inside. Real confidence doesn't need an audience. Real self-worth survives criticism and isn't shattered by silence. But narcissists, they build themselves out of other people's reactions. When the reactions stop, that facade starts to crumble. And that's the heart of narcissism's paradox. The person who seems strongest is often most desperate for others. The one who chases admiration is terrified of being ignored. The one running from reflection is running from themselves. When a narcissist loses their audience and distractions, they're forced to face the thing they've dodged for years, themselves. And that, more than any breakup or criticism or rejection, is the scariest thing in the world for them.